I'm super duper thrilled and excited to share this conversation with all of you because it just filled my soul. It rejuvenated my soul in such a huge way that I couldn't press stop, or I couldn't give a closure to this conversation. I just kept going with my guest, Dallas Collin, who is a spiritual teacher gifted to explain the reality, the story mind that we all are living most of our lives. And we think falsely that this story is us. We attach our identities to this story mind. And I can't wait for all of you to listen to this conversation and connect with it and go deep within yourself and observe your own story. And at the end, the advice, the practical advice that Dallas has shared with all of you, it is just absolutely phenomenal. And I would urge for all of you to try that. What is it? I'm not going to tell you in the advance. You have to stay with us throughout this conversation. I know it's long, but trust me, you won't feel for a moment that you are being bored. It's such a roller coaster of going back and forth and discovering and engaging in so many truths and deeper understanding of who we are as human beings. The label that we put to this personality, what it is, what is that we are chasing in this world, what is that distant happiness or the goals that we are running after, and yet we never reach there. So this is a journey that I'm super excited to share with all of you, and I'm 1000% sure you will enjoy it immensely, and this will change your life. So without further ado, let's jump into this conversation and listen what Dallas has to share, his life story and his moment of awakening and that awakening journey, and how he has segmented in such a practical and beautiful yet super spiritual way that who we are. What is this story mind that keep deceiving us all our lives, and this is what we are perpetuating in our kids. And what is the system, who we really are in this system, how we need to live our lives on daily basis, how to live in the present moment. That is the most important thing. How to appreciate ourselves and whatever we have in our life, and not to be attached to the story or to this material stuff that we have, or the jobs or the relationships that we have in our life. How can we do this? Let's learn.
We started with the victory. We just didn't see it. In our first moments of living, we become a story. I give you a name. Hi, Ansa, it's so nice to meet you. Tell me a little about yourself. You begin telling me your story. I latched onto, I attached to the pain of it, what it meant to me, how it hurt me. Every great athlete will tell you when they screw up is when they start to try, when they think about the next move. Do serious work. You don't take life seriously. You control nothing in this world but yourself. And that's everything. Because you are everything. You're the most important person in the world. It's there when you're born, it's there when you die. In between, we fill it with thoughts and beliefs and ideas, this attaching outside of ourselves, this striving to find, when all the while, it's always been here, but 90% fail. What can be the answer to this? I've got an idea. It's the journey. The journey is the richness of life. The journey is the wisdom. The journey is the beauty. The journey is the happiness. We all walk a hard road. We just wear different shoes. You're not better because you journeyed all the way to be a PhD. That doesn't make you better. It's just a journey you took. No one has a problem. You have a situation that you have to deal with. That's all. And you can either deal with it or not deal with it. And so often we live our lives sleepy, sleepwalking in habit and routine that is easy, comfortable. but allows the story mind to be the driver. And we do things by thought. Observe your thoughts. Not accept your thoughts, observe them. But you have a rational mind that knows it's not happening now. I'm not in it now. I don't have to return to that story. And the less I return to it, the more it fades, the less power it has, the less control it exerts on your life. That's the reality. You leave the story or the parts of the story. I don't say this is mine. Nothing is mine. I don't own a possession anymore. There are things in my house. I drive a car, but none of it means. None of it associates. None of it is attached to who I am, what you are, not who you think you are, what you truly are. And understanding I am whole. There's nothing broken. There's no knowledge I need. We already have it. Skills and tools anyone can pick up. Our whole life is about constraints. It puts pressure on us, and we feel stress. It's tangible pressure. We feel it in our guts. But it's created. It's mental. And now we have a whole medical system and therapy. All of them saying you've been wounded. It's so deep in your psyche. You're in this terrible place. It's not.
Alrighty, welcome, Dallas. Thank you so much for taking the time to record this conversation with me for our viewers. I am so thrilled. Since I've spoken with you, I have been so looking forward to this conversation. And I would love for you to, go deep and just take it away. But before that, I have the signature question that I love to ask all my guests. Which is, what is your definition of the word bloom?
Well, if you had asked me that a year ago, I would talk about growth, giving up our vulnerabilities, coming out, being who we really are. That has vastly changed now. Now bloom is love and happiness. It's literally seeing a flower bloom and being taken by its magic. That blooming is not becoming, it's being. It's understanding we don't become something, we are already that blooming flower, the beauty. So that's the change I would give you in an answer.
This is super powerful, and I can't wait to dive deeper into this philosophy of believing and understanding and knowing that we already are complete and we have bloomed. We are living in our full bloom, right? It's a state, it's a current state, it's a present state. It's not some, goal out there. It's not a North Star that we have to go and get it. We can just go inside and start living in that state right away. What do you say our audience will take away from this conversation, and how this conversation will change their life?
Well, I don't think a conversation can change anyone's life, but I think it can offer you some introspection to maybe question yourself. And in that is the seed of changing your life. Because we allow the answer to be how we live, what we believe. And until we can question it, until we can say, what if there's a different thing to look at, then that's the seed to go somewhere, to grow, to really bloom, to find that flower that you are.
Excellent. Can you expand further on that, please?
Well, that begins the process of, can we start from an agreed position? A common ground between you and I would give you this belief and see if you can agree with it. My belief is that each and every single human being on the planet that ever was or ever will be is looking for the same thing. We are searching for a feeling of contentment, of fulfillment. We might call it happiness, love, beauty, a quiet mind, peace of mind, a stillness, a relaxation of just being. We all want to get that. You know, we work for 50 years at a job to retire, to do what? To relax. Maybe it's to travel. Whatever it is, it's about finding an enjoyment, a place of fulfillment, contentment, to be happy with ourselves, our life, to not be filled with worries or concerns about tomorrow or yesterday. No fears and insecurities, just being happy. So if we can agree that we think that is what we all look for, can we? Can you find that in yourself and see that as a real fundamental truth about us?
And how do you determine that if we are looking for that thing on the outside or the inside? Because most of the time we are looking for that peace, that happiness, contentment, whatever you want to call it, as outside. As you said, maybe it's, some people are looking for, in a better job, in more money, in a better partner, in a relationship, in an environment. Why not we see that it is an internal state, and how we start to seeing that?
Well, because you've been educated to look outside. We go to school as children, and what they do is tell us it's all about the destination, the goal, achieving, getting the grade, being smart. You're punished for being dumb. You're going to be left behind. You're not going to succeed. So the benefits are all about what I can reach. Work hard, study, get there. And of course, this builds massive fear inside of our real selves, because our story is telling us, what if I'm not good enough? It questions ourselves. And we're being put against this constant comparison and judgment. And so we become judgmental because we understand the parents, the world, the economy, everything has told us. We're judging each other. You must measure up. And so we believe it's outside. And this is the never-ending, the picture of the horse with a stick out from its head and a carrot dangling on a string. So it motivates the horse to keep going.
Yes.
That is what we've done to ourselves. You will never reach the carrot.
Yes.
Because any goal you set, when you get there, there's that feeling of, that's it? Oh, look, another mountain for me to climb. Mm-hmm. Oh, another goal to go after. And we just keep going, hoping that we're going to get that feeling of real fulfillment, of real purpose and meaning in ourselves. And the tragic truth is, we had it in the beginning. We started with the victory. We just didn't see it. I say there's a happy blindness. We're blind to our own happiness. And we have a blind happiness. The real happiness is not being blind, it is who we are. We don't find it somewhere. Have you ever looked into a new baby's eyes?
Yes, just recently.
Have you ever experienced looking down at that brand new human, that face and those eyes? In that moment, you can only be reflective. That's reflecting yourself, what you're seeing in the baby. Beauty, love, happiness. You're not thinking this isn't a good enough baby. You're not thinking this baby might fail. You're not thinking anything other than accepting the reflection of you, not of the baby. You're seeing yourself, your true self. And you can do it again at the other end of life. My mother died just a month ago. And hours before her death, I looked down into that face and those eyes. And it reflected back love. That's all it reflected. We are that. That's the reflection. We're not seeing that person. We're seeing ourselves in that person.
So where does that, happiness gets disconnected, that, the state of complete happiness? Where do we disconnect from that?
Because in our first moments of living, we become a story. I give you a name. Now you're not just this loving being, you're a loving being named Ansa. Now you are, I am this person. Then you get layers and layers of this story. Everything we hear, we see, we're taught, we taste, we feel, we experience becomes a story about us. We go through school and we learn and we have friends and we learn relationships. All these steps are building a story that become who we believe we are. We see ourselves as our story. I meet you now at a cocktail party. I'm introduced to you. And I say, hi, Ansa, it's so nice to meet you. Tell me a little about yourself. You begin telling me your story. We are the past. We live from our history. All our knowledge is about what we have learned. All our tastes, our experiences, our fashion, our sense of self, our self-image comes from the past, what we have learned, and we carry around as our story. We identify as that story. I am that story. I am the kid who went through this. I'm the kid who was abused and bullied, psychologically and physically, and left terrible pain on me. That's me. I am the person who kept failing throughout life because school taught me that I'm a failure, that I'm not good enough. And throughout my life, whenever I did something well, I would sabotage it to prove to my story, my image, that that is me, to continually live up to the image I believe about myself. And eventually we become trapped in this. And some people, like myself, the pain is almost too much to bear.
So the schools are doing the job actually, which is adverse to our success and being who we really are, instead of it's not productive. Why do you think the schools came into being in the first place? Who started the school system and why?
Because the entire culture is a story mind. We collectively are playing this game. We developed a system of economics, trade. You must give me something of value so that I get the value from you, right? So we developed a system. And within that system, what did you have to do? You got to compete. You've got to give good value. But if this person gives better, I've got to compete with them because it buys my food, it supports my family. So of course, we have to live in this system. But the problem is when we attach the meaning of our success and happiness to the system. This is where the pain arrives because we're attaching externally. I'm not attaching to me, I'm attaching to the rules of the game I'm trying to play. And if I don't play them well enough, I'm hurt. And we're constantly in this conflict of comparison and judgment. These are not natural places, but we have just over time, historically, gone in this direction to feed ourselves, to clothe ourselves, and to shelter ourselves. The three basic purposes, right?
Is there a way to find that can support our basic human needs?
Oh, I don't know what that is. I'm not suggesting I have a different economic system or anything. What I'm suggesting is our life in that system, in this today's world, right. We are trying to find this happiness. And we're not finding it playing the game, not because of the game, but of how we attach to the game. What we're making the game mean to us. Okay. The reality is we are the happy, beautiful, loving human being, all of us. But we've covered it up with this game that is about reaching that carrot in front of the horse. Get there, work hard, you'll find it. And so we search for something that we already possess. We've been blinded to it by the search. We're playing a game that has deceived us. The story of who I believe I am is a story I have believed. There's no more truth to it. than my ability to believe in it. It doesn't exist. I can't show you my history, pull it out of a closet and say, look, Ansa, here's yesterday. It's not a physical thing. But I'm believing in this thing, and it took over my life and almost killed me. Because I latched onto, I attached to the pain of it, what it meant to me, how it hurt me, how other people hurt me, events hurt me, how I lost and fell down and got hurt, and no one was there to say it's okay and give me a hug. And so the pain builds and builds until we have to release it somehow. And this is why there's a mental health crisis today. Because people are so overloaded with the storm of the world around us, the fears and insecurities of war, of climate change, politics, economics, that has become so pervasive. And because of social media, it's at us 24/7. It's all over us. Our whole nervous system is getting overloaded. And we're feeling the pain of this adventure towards the benefit, the winning of something that never arrives.
Yes. So if we were from the very beginning, which I completely believe we are those happy beings, we are successful from the beginning when we were first born into this body, right? And over time, we did not learn the tools to continue flourish in that state. So our system basically failed us. The society, the parents, and everybody failed us. And that's why we have become this unfulfilled, unhappy individuals, and then as a society, as a world, right? What can we do about this at this very moment moving forward?
Yeah, and I want to say something about, people will say, well, it's not all pain, it's not all suffering. Look, we get along pretty well. The world works pretty well. We're better off today than ever before. We'll look at all the good things that have happened, healthcare, education, all these things that we know are good. We know we want to do the best we can. We know we need to be disciplined and struggle and work hard to have a business or do our job well, look after our children. These are all great things. But we have to understand there is an underlying insanity of the human species. We will spend 2.5 trillion with a T, $1 trillion this year on ways to kill each other. There is no way that any rational mind can say that's a sane animal. It's not. And that 2.5 trillion being spent to try and kill each other is the massive delusion that keeps us away from what we know. Love is all that matters. Love is all we are. And that simplicity is why it's so difficult. From childhood, we're educated how difficult the world is, how big it is, how hard it is to explain. Science going deeper and deeper into the complexities of life, to the cosmos, the universe. We are bombarded with complexity to the point that if you stood up in public today and you say, I'm struggling with my mental health, I'm trying to be strong, I'm working every day to be a good person, and blah, 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 blah. Society and doctors and experts will all stand behind you, shake your hand, pat you on the back, tell you how great you are, how wonderful you are. You can do it. You will be praised for the vulnerability and the courage to share your struggle. If I stand before you today and say, it's just love, I'm happy all the time, I have no worries, no concerns, no troubles in my life, life is easy. Those doctors and experts and you and most of everyone in the public would go, this guy's a little delusional. There's something wrong with him. Think about that. The $2.5 trillion to kill each other is that insanity. We're okay when you're in trouble. The world's in trouble. We know it's difficult and it's complex. You're fine? Wait a second. There must be something wrong with you. Weigh this. This is madness. You are fine. We are all fine. But we're stuck in this story, this difficult, struggling story. The question only becomes, how do you remove yourself from the story?
So society basically appreciates the stories of struggle, the stories of not feeling good enough, not feeling happy. And that's why there are more and more people building their story around those aspects, because they want to be accepted and appreciated and be part of that group.
Yes. Wow. Yes. Even if the group is crazy, I want to be a part of the herd.
Yes.
We're social animals. We don't want to stand out and seem weird. We want to fit in, even if it's against the entire reality of who we truly are, because I'll be with you. I would rather be in pain, but be together in a kind of comfort in the pain than be alone. That might be worse pain. Oh, my fears, my God, what if people thought I was crazy? That's how we have got it so backwards. We've been so confused, so fooled by the story of what we believe. And it's happened to everyone. It is how the world functions. That's why it's so difficult to get out of it. Because this is normal. It is normal to be in that mess. It is abnormal to be happy, calm, and just loving life. That's abnormal.
So basically, our story is actually being constructed and controlled by other people. It's not even our real story that we believe it's ours.
It's a collective story, a collective madness. Absolutely. You sense other people. We all do. We have a deep connection to each other. That's why we're a social being. So if everyone's running in one direction, we're all going. We're dragged along with it. You don't question it. We call people sheep, and we have leaders that are up there going, this is the truth. This is the way. We've got experts behind them saying they're right. It is the truth. It is the way. And the whole herd is running. But one person stands up and goes, what if we're running in the wrong direction?
Yeah.
What if that's a cliff?
Exactly.
What if we don't see the falls and we're going down this river? Well, who's going to stand up? That's real bravery, real courage, is being to be who you really are, not a story of who you are. You believe the wrong story. We all do it. The normalcy is this abnormal belief.
So how do we deconstruct this story, take these layers off, and start to construct and build a real story?
I'll say a few things. I've now come to believe that you cannot heal a problem in the story. If you were hurt as a child and you've carried this pain and frustration of a lack of confidence, you don't believe in yourself the way you should, you keep failing, falling down, you're never happy. You can't heal that. You have to leave it. The story is always going to be the story. You were traumatized. These things did happen to you. They are real from your past, but they're not real today. You only carry them because you carry a memory. And that memory itself must be reimagined every time you think of it. Now, in this moment, you have to reimagine it. You don't go somewhere to your memory. It must be reconstructed all the time. So the reality is you have to stop reconstructing the memory, to leave the memory. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have to understand what we attach to. I watched a news report from the fires in LA back in, when was it, early January?
Yes.
And here was a reporter on the street. All the houses are obliterated, burned to the ground. A woman in her 40s is on one side of her. A man in his 70s is on the other side. Turns out they're father and daughter. They live 3 blocks apart. They both lost everything, their home, everything. The daughter is in tears, sobbing. She's lost everything. And she says, I've lost everything. My whole life was there. All my memories, everything's been burnt. I've lost it all. She's devastated. The reporter looks at the man who has almost a smile on his face and a calmness. And the reporter is obviously startled by this contrast. And she looks at the man and says, why do you seem okay with this? And he smiles and he says, it's just stuff. We can replace stuff. She was attached to possessions, the home, the pictures, memories, the time, the involvement of history in that home, of living there, proud that maybe she owned a home, that she worked hard, that she went to school, she became a professional. All these things are tied to our memory and imagination that says, this education I got is me. I did achieve. I got the reward. The house is the reward, and I love my house. My car I loved. My grounds, my lawn, my whole life. I love it. I'm so attached to it. And the danger that she's expressing in the pain is that she's attached to something that isn't real. It burned up, it's gone. What's the reality of that thing you put your value in? And the man realized, and he showed, he was valued in himself. Oh, the stuff, I can buy new stuff. So what? It's just stuff. That's the difference. That's the attachment. We are all expressing our lives through some sort of attachment. Even to children. Our own children, we will attach ourselves to and say, my children's success is my success.
Yes.
That's madness. That's crazy. That's why you'll have parents who force their children to become a doctor or a lawyer because, damn it, you're going to reach the heights. And you're actually doing it for me. How selfish. But we don't see it as selfish. We think we're being wonderful parents supporting our children. We're attaching our psyche to another human being and putting our value in them. We got it wrong. The great value is what we already possess. We don't give it to people, we share it. We share it with each other in a loving, beautiful way. I'm going to share my beauty with my children. I'm not forcing them to be, because they are already. I'm only going to help them bloom, help them grow in the path they will find, and be okay with it. And no possession, no thing I can tangibly grab hold of is going to be the meaning. They're just signposts along the way, but they're not that important. So detachment is a massive part of this journey towards a healthy being who we are. To detach from the world around us. That nothing is important outside of you. You are the most important person in the world. Not in a selfish way, but as a self. If you weren't here, there wouldn't be a world. You wouldn't know about anything. So of course you're the most important person on the planet. If you weren't here, you'd never experience a hug, a kiss, a pat on the back. You'd never experience a sunrise, a sunset, a beautiful day, a flower, nothing. How could you not be the most important person in the world?
In my own world. In my own world, not in comparison to other people. That's the distinction I think we don't understand.
Every person is the most important person in the world.
Right? In their own world.
Every single one is.
Yes.
And if we even had that attachment, why would we kill a person?
Yes.
We wouldn't. It would be impossible because we would be killing ourselves. And as it turns out, we are killing ourselves. The pain we feel, we don't want to look at pictures of a starving child. It hurts our hearts. Why does it hurt? Because they are us.
Yes.
We know somewhere that this is true. We know deep inside that we are the love, the beauty, the happiness. And we've got it covered up, playing a game of possessions and attachment and judgment and comparison to try and keep us safe because of fear. Our entire lives are about not being afraid, keeping away from fear. And if I reach the goal, I'll be successful and happy, no fear. And so everything is pushing it away. And maybe that stems from the fact we are born into fear. What could be more traumatic than being born? The actual act of birth. Imagine coming from this heavenly body,
yes,
your mother, and suddenly being thrown out into this bizarre atmosphere. I think that is the original trauma, and that we are injected with fear of the unknown at that moment. And that is the overriding basis to the story creation that is all about how do I not feel that? And so we attach to everything outside to stay away from our truth.
Yes. So detachment, right? Detachment from the world around you while living in that world as a human being. I think that is the mystic way of life, right?
Look, people will say, well, if I detach from everything, how could I go to work? How could I do my job?
Yeah.
Because being is creating and doing and enjoying. You're not attached to it. I play tennis because I love playing tennis. It feels good and I'm outside, or golf, or a walk in the woods, or hanging out with friends, being with my kids. It's just a being it. I'm not doing it because if I don't, I'll be less or I'll be hurt. I'm not doing it as an attachment. If I don't play golf, I'm not good enough. My friends won't like me. That's attachment. Going and doing everything is just the being doing it. I want to do a better job because I'm unattached, because I get to just be me and let it go. Just absorb myself into the act of being. I can make any job a beautiful, loving, fabulous thing to do every day and exciting, a mundane job, because I'm adding to the world, because I'm supporting other people. I'm just being a part of this beautiful life. But as soon as I make it good, bad, compared, judged, now I brought in all the fear and all the insecurity for no reason. And we say, well, you wouldn't be motivated and you wouldn't compete if you let go of all this. The competition now is the fun. I'll beat you at tennis. I'll beat you at business. Look at it the same way. It's just a fun activity. But it doesn't mean if you lose, you get hurt. That's attachment. I don't want you to get hurt in any loss. I don't want Ansa to be hurt because she didn't win. I want her just to say, who cares if I didn't win? I had a great time.
So
and tomorrow I'm going to go at it again and I might do better.
Yes.
I might get better at it. But it's just the activity.
Wow. So the distinction is that we must be playing the game of life without the fear of losing. Like, what happens if I lose? What happens if I make mistake? What happens if I don't achieve the results that others are expecting from me? You do it because you enjoy it and because you are a divine creator.
Yeah. And think about yourself. The best work you've ever done, I already know what mental state you were in. You were just doing it. You weren't thinking about how you're going to do it. You weren't trying to do it. You were just in what we call flow. It was just going, and you were having a great day, and you go, wow, that was a great day at work. Look how productive I was. I didn't even think about it. It just went. It was great, and it feels good. Every great athlete will tell you when they screw up is when they start to try, when they think about the next move, and all of a sudden they screw up and they lose. We are best when we are just there doing it. So people that go, you have to think about competing and beating the other person. No, you don't. No, you don't. All the winners of the world just do. They just go. They don't think about the loss. They don't think about the win. They don't think about what could go wrong, what might go wrong. They just go. And that's what this release from attachment does. You let go of all that. You do serious work. You don't take life seriously. Detach this. Enjoy the work. Love the work. Love your kids. But don't attach to it in a serious way that you control it. You don't. You control nothing in this world but yourself. And that's everything. Because you are everything. You're the most important person in the world.
Absolutely. So if we start with our children, let's say, wherever we are in our lives, whatever stage and age we are, we first understand this philosophy and apply to our life, but then we want to replicate in our kids. How do we start that? That we start to educate our kids, to understand their self-worth and not attach their self-worth to the outer worlds or the experiences or the things, as you mentioned, material and otherwise. What would you say to that parent who has young kids and they want to instill these truths into their kids?
And this is one of the greatest hurdles we probably have as a society, because we have that education system, the economy, the politics, all telling you that you have to compare, judge, win, overcome, be the best, succeed. All these things which are fine on their own, but we create this attachment to believe that that is what measures me, that I am only good enough if I measure up. So this is the great difficulty as a parent, I would say, because you have a child who's being taught this, who's being taught to attach to this meaning. And if you understand not being attached, you're almost caught in the middle of saying to my child, understand the difference is go for the A grade. But it's okay if you don't make it. That doesn't make you less of a human being. That the judgment has to be removed in the parenting. I'm not going to have the best child, the brightest child, the best looking child. I have a beautiful human being. And I have to only support them in whatever their endeavor is. But I know that they have to play this game as well. I know that everyone around us is part of that herd. And so you can't be completely separated. I mean, some people do. They try to homeschool, not put their child in the system. Have their own sect or community or religion, and really separate the person from the rest of society. But we know in the end it doesn't work very well. So I think it's because that also is an attachment. Right. You're just attaching to a different story.
Exactly.
And the reality is it's not about the story. That's why I keep going back to this story mind that we're attached to. Because it's not about the story. Any story is an attachment. Any belief is an attachment. People say to me, well, you can't live without beliefs. I go, really? Why not? What do I need to believe? I said, Ansa, do you believe in gravity?
Yes.
No, you don't.
No.
You know gravity.
I know, yes.
You don't believe it. It's not like, well, it might work, it might not.
Right.
You know it is. You've experienced it.
Yes.
Well, fundamental, the physics of life, the chemistry of life. We don't have to believe it. We know it. It just is. That is the secret. I don't need to believe anything. Believing is judgment and comparison. I believe you will show up in 10 minutes when we're supposed to meet. If I do that and say to myself, I believe you will be there, I have put an expectation, not on me, on you. I've just attached to you. So if you don't show up, what happens? I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. You didn't disappoint me. I did. I put an attachment on you for me. There's no such thing. I don't control you. I would love it if you showed up, but that's your business. You have a life too. Things can happen in your life that take you away. That's this moment we have to understand this detachment. To say, I control nothing outside of here. So allow it to be. When the wind blows, put up a sail. When the waves go, get a surfboard. Go with it. Live life. Don't try and control it and confine it and put it in boxes and label it and understand it. Why? Why do I have to have all these beliefs? What for? Those beliefs are boxes. I believed I was this story that was hurt, damaged, broken, that there was something wrong with me. And so my life lived that way and was a disaster. A belief. That's all it is. You had beliefs 10 years ago you don't have today.
Yes.
You will have beliefs in 10 years from now that you do not have today. So what is the truth of a belief? You don't believe in gravity because the belief doesn't matter. It just is. You don't have to believe in love or believe you have to love yourself because you are. There's nothing to believe. Let yourself be.
How do I experience that I am love? I am complete from the very beginning. How do I understand that?
What are you chasing? We're chasing this love. We're chasing this happiness. We all are, in everything. Every possession we buy, in the background, we bought it to feel something. You buy a car and someone says to me, yeah, but I bought a car just for transportation. It's a rational, logical choice. I guarantee you bought the car that you liked. And the liking had a background image behind you saying, yeah, I feel good about this car. I sat in the seat and it feels good. Everything is about this feeling. We're trying to be happy. So when you say, how do I experience it? You have to first be honest and say, that is what I want. Then the question is, well, then why aren't you? The whole understanding is what's in the way. What have I put in the way of happiness? Because where's it going to be? Where does it lie? Do you know where happiness lives? Do you know its location? Is it a thing you can pick up in your hand? We think it is. That's why we buy stuff to make us happy. Or we achieve things to make us happy. We think it's a thing. It's not. It's what you are. You can't find it because you are it. You're looking for something you can't find because it's already here. It's like it's a rainy, stormy, cloudy, violent day in the environment. And you're, whoa, boy, it's ugly out here. And there's fears and insecurities. But behind those clouds and all that, every day, every single day is a blue sky and sunshine. You know that. That's you. That's the reality of us. We are always the blue sky and sunshine, and we get glimpses of it. We all get glimpses of those moments when something happens in your life and you just go, wow, cool. And right in that moment, you're not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow or a worry or a concern. You're experiencing awe, looking at that flower that blooming, beautiful flower. And for a second, any human being will have that, wow, beautiful. We even choose to use a flower to show our love. This is this connection in the entire world and each other that's always there. How do we find it? We let it happen. We detach from all the garbage we're holding. And we realize we are the important one. It's in us. And each of us is. That's all that, when we are in love, you and I, say we're in a relationship and in love, it's because we both see we are the beauty. It's not because you're special or I'm special. It's because we've connected and seen the beauty in each of us, that we are actually the same.
Because first I was able to see my beauty and understood it, and then I can relate because you come from the same source. You are beautiful too. You don't have to look a certain way. But
this is why so many relationships don't work. What's the reason? I'm trying to find the love in you. You are a possession. You're a car. You're furniture. That's how we look at so many of our relationships. And when they don't live up to our expectation, we're hurt. And the relationship breaks down. Because I'm feeding an addiction. I'm looking for the happiness, and I think you're going to give it to me. This is the woman I've been looking for. She's the woman I need. Why would I need someone? Only if I think I'm going to get something from you. I have attached my need to you. And we're in a relationship. And over the years, we have different thoughts and feelings and beliefs, and we start arguing and complaining and bickering. What has happened? You're not giving me my need. I don't love you anymore. It's a game that we've played because we think it's out there, the attached world and people. Look at all the people who are single, and they will tell you how they love their pet. They have a cat or a dog, and they'll say, it's like my child.
Yes.
They're attaching to find some sort of social currency and connection to keep their feeling good. My pet doesn't bitch and whine at me and complain. I come home and it's happy to see me every day. Oh my goodness, it's feeding me. We're attaching. No one needs a pet. No one even needs another human in that kind of intimate relationship. We need it as a social construct of knowing we are all this love and happiness. And it's a wonderful feeling to share it with another person.
Yes.
Not to find it in another person. And the real love is the sharing, not the getting something. You can't make me happy, sad. You can't make me feel loved. You can't hurt me or please me. That's up to me. I have to accept you doing that. And that puts me in the vulnerability of being hurt because I've given you my power. I've attached. The freedom is unattached, is being careless in a very deep sense. Don't put your care in all these things. Put them in yourself and experience all these things. Enjoy all these things. Be happy in all these things. But don't make them the determinant of that happiness. It's your acceptance that makes it happy. You allow it. You're the boss. You're the most important person in the world.
Yes.
It's not rocket science, and I think that's why it's so hard, because the simple things can't be true.
Exactly.
Something in our head says, I mean, it's not just something, the whole culture has taught us.
Yeah.
It's a big, complex, entangled world.
Yeah.
And you're not smart enough to figure it out. Right. So it can't be that simple when you tell me it is. You're being simple-minded. Thank God we need simple minds. Because look what the complex minds have given us.
Yes. Exactly. So also, when we see ourselves as broken, we see ourselves, needing something on the outside, it reminds me, okay, first of all, I think those people it doesn't matter if you call yourself a believer or not, you are the most agnostic person to me because you don't believe that you are part of God. How can God be broken? How can God not be love? How can God or your creator, you want to call it universe or whatever, is complete, is beautiful, it's all love. But then the same entity who created you, you think you are broken. That means that entity, your God, your creator, did not do a good job.
Right.
Right?
How could you not be perfect from the start?
Exactly.
You've made yourself imperfect.
Yeah.
By this attaching, but the God idea, for me, it's universal consciousness, it's awareness, it's just that beauty and love. And one of the problems I always had with the God idea as something you can attach yourself to. And I think that's been religion's biggest problem, its biggest struggle, is people attach as though God or religion will give me something. And it doesn't.
Yes.
You accept something about it. And what you accept is, it's who I am. So for me, the reality is, I am God. You are God. The flower is God. The dog is God. Life is it. And so stop the comparing and judging and putting in boxes and labeling. Yes. It just is. It's acceptance. Jesus didn't say to his disciples, I'm the light, you follow. He actually said, you are the light of the world. Those were his words to his disciples. What is he saying? He's saying that we are, all of us. We are it.
Yes.
We are the love and happiness, the grace, the beauty. We are only here to share it with each other, to experience it, to be happy. That's it. That's all it is. And everyone in the middle of the fight, from a CEO to a man digging a ditch, are all doing the same thing. They're trying to get there. They're trying to just accept their love, their beauty, their happiness. That's all. And you can do it now. You don't have to wait. It's there. The blue sky and sunshine's right behind you. It's always behind you. You're always the light of the world. There's no world without your light. Without your light, you'd be blind. You'd see nothing.
And imagine how we as parents, from the very beginning start teaching the same false beliefs about the world to our kids, right? We give them things and we tell them this is yours. And they start their attachment with little toys, with their school bag, with their friends, siblings, their house. I got this better. You don't have it. We compare and we teach our children the same false belief, and we are continuously perpetuating that.
Yeah, and we teach the word more right away. So my little boy has a toy truck. And he loves the truck. And he's in the sandbox playing with the truck. And he's purely happy. He has no fear, worry, concern, self-judgment, nothing. He's absolutely happy with his truck. And then another boy steps into the sandbox with 4 trucks. Everything is destroyed. Everything is gone because that little boy has already picked up in the world more. I need more. Oh, look, that boy's got 4. It's better. I'm not as good. I have to do something. Mom, I want another truck. He's upset. He's into pain and suffering. Right away. This is the story. And we do it without consciously saying, I want you to have more. I want you to need more. We don't have to say it to a child. The child sees it. The child is immersed in this education.
Yes.
This is why the parent has such a difficulty controlling and wanting to control, because they're in the story themselves, and culturally as the entire story around them in the world out there.
What would you tell that little boy who has one truck and now he sees his friend having 4 trucks, in order to help him understand the reality of experience and detachment? What would you tell that little boy?
I can't say that I know. I'm not an expert with, teaching that sort of evaluation. I mean, for me personally, it would be, what more do you need? Why do you need another truck? What is it going to give you? Questions. What are you going to get by having this thing? What is this thing going to do for you? If you were happy a minute ago with what you had, with what you have in this moment, then that doesn't have to change. Because the happiness is what you have, not the truck. So if you're teaching the association, the attachment to the thing being the happiness, that's the great error. This is the great delusion that we create in ourselves and each other. Because our happiness isn't in the thing. I was happy in myself, in my truck playing. I didn't need something. The truck didn't even make me happy. The act of playing made me happy. The act of being made me happy. That's what we need to share with one another. It's not the thing. It's not the possession. It's not another person. It's you. It's accepting you and realizing you are the happiness. It will be found nowhere else in your life. Staring into my mother's face and eyes, there it was. And it was always there. It's there when you're born. It's there when you die. In between, we fill it with thoughts and beliefs and ideas, this attaching outside of ourselves, this striving to find, when all the while, it's always been here.